On a quiet evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the streets bustled with people rushing to and fro. Among the crowd was an elderly man, bent with age, shuffling along the pavement. He leaned heavily on his weathered walking stick, his other hand clutching a small cloth bag. The weight of his years and the burden of his journey were evident. Passers-by glanced at him briefly but continued on, too preoccupied with their own lives to notice his struggle. Each step seemed like an ordeal for the old man, yet his determined eyes stayed fixed on the distant bus stop. Just then, a young man, barely in his 20s, noticed the elderly man's plight. Dressed casually with a backpack slung over one shoulder, he paused mid-step. After a moment of hesitation, he approached the old man. "Excuse me, sir," the young man said gently, his voice filled with concern. "You look like you need a little help. May I walk with you?" The elderly man stopped and looked up, his tired face breaking into a warm, grateful smile. "Ah, young man," he replied softly, "that would be kind of you. I'm trying to reach the bus stop, but these legs aren't what they used to be." Without another word, the young man reached out and took the small bag from the elder's hand. He then offered his arm for support. Together, they walked at a slow pace, the noise of the busy street fading into the background. As they walked, they shared a conversation. The old man spoke of his younger days, his adventures, and his dreams. The young man, in turn, shared his aspirations and the challenges of growing up in a fast-paced world. Though they had just met, their connection felt profound, a rare meeting of two souls across generations. At last, they reached the bus stop. The bus arrived shortly after, its headlights cutting through the twilight. The young man helped the elder onto the bus and handed him the bag. Before stepping onto the bus, the elderly man turned around. His eyes glistened with gratitude as he said, "Thank you, son. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness leave the biggest marks. Remember that." The young man smiled and nodded. He stood there, watching as the bus pulled away, feeling a quiet warmth in his heart. As the old man disappeared into the distance, the young man walked away, a renewed sense of purpose lighting up his face. A single act of kindness may not change the world, but it can change someone's entire day. Be the change you wish to see.